Oh,
A Thresh.
would do it as well.
Okay.
One of our other things we were talking about coming into this series, Rafa, was we wanted to see these carry characters in mid. And in that regard, I'm a little worried because Radiance was on. Oh,
There it is.
Okay, so Radiance was in Ziggs jail earlier today. If this Ziggs is getting past to Alier and it's going to be Lucian mid, then I'm very happy.
You're very down, as they say.
No, I'm standing up.
Wait, are you now standing up? Are you standing
No.
up with...
He's
until
gonna
the game
believe
starts.
you. He's gonna believe you, you know.
Man. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. We got Lux? Lux for Isu?
We do. And this makes a lot of sense into Thresh because you can outrange the Thresh and just really
Sona
drill
Lux!
that lane.
Sona
And you go
Lux!
Lux Sona.
It's the
Yeah,
Taiwan
like this.
special! Let's go!
You go Lux Sona, which is the Flash Wolf special. It's an evolution on the double AD carry, where we've seen Lux Seraphine fulfill this role as well. Team Secret, actually, who played earlier today, were one of the first teams to develop that. And this is really scary once you get late game, because you essentially have 2 carries for the price of 1. During the early game, it's going to be dangerous. So Flash Wolves are going to need to hold on through Bruce's Ari and Ysera's Renekton. Those are going to be kind of their tickets through the early game, and they're going to be vulnerable during that period. If you can get onto that lane and really shut it down, they'll be in trouble.
Rafa, any final thoughts here before we jump into the game? And now I just have to say you both look like you're standing up.
Mika, all I'm going to say, it is 6 a.m. I see Lux Sona. I am very excited, and I don't want to sit
You're
down.
awake now. You're awake now.
I am on board for the ride. Let's go, baby.
I can't do
Standing
that.
up for the game!
Let's go!
I can't do. Okay, I'll join you guys in peer pressure over here, but let's go. We are going into game number 1 of Flash Wolves and MBR Esports. Casters, over to you guys.
Get on your feet.
Thank you very much, Mika. We're down into the last series for the day. Flash Wolves up against MBR. And Riku, this is looking an exciting draft here for Flash Wolves and also MBR. Going for untraditional bot lane with Thresh for MBR and Flash Wolves going for Sona Lux.
Yeah, TJ mentioned it before. This is very reminiscent of the summer season where Team Secret drafted the Unkillable comp, where you have the Sona Seraphine to make sure that the Olaf, whenever he presses Ragnarok, dives into the back line, he will survive. And for MBR, this is going to be a very classic Lucian Thresh lane where we expect them to be very aggressive in the 2v2 matchup. I mean, usually when it comes to expectations when a Thresh is locked in, either you have a safe AD carry with you with big wave clear so you can roam with your jungler. But now, this isn't the case. With now Lucian 2v2, expecting possibly a traditional AD carry lane, this changes things because there's sustain in the lane as well. You've got CC to try and punish that death sentence into the light binding. So I feel like Flash Wolves bottom lane wants the level 5s immediately, and as well as the fights in Dragon and Rift Herald to make sure that they can propel Cookie, Ysera. We'll see. I'm curious about this composition, especially now we're at the fall season.
And I'm hugely interested as well. I like your point about Tobu needing to roam elsewhere because if we know historical states, Bruce is very aggressive as a champion, as a playmaker for Flash Wolves. Right, and if Tobu is able to roam in mid lane and help out the Radiant, especially Ziggs is not really the most mobile champion. Yes, he has that escape route onto the satchel charge, but I think Tobu will be key here for MBR on how they can maneuver in this game up against Flash Wolves. And when you have a Lux and Sona plus a Bruiser combo for Flash Wolves, I think they need to put this at the very late game and is dependent on that extra damage, which I presume is going to be Bruce and Ysera.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? In this 2v2 matchup with double mage, before level 5, there's no kill threat, really. There's no lock-in for Air Lure here on the Lucian. So this is a time window where Tobu, a time window that's not exactly as long, where he doesn't have to worry about his AD carry dying in the lane against a 1v2 matchup. But of course, level 5 will start to seep in. Tobu will have to time his roams during back timings. And now, We'll see. Look at this lantern. This is a very, very long lantern to deliver Alvis here.
Yeah, Alvis comes through. This is a 3v2. MBR went in for the early roam.
Locking.
Now Locking is going to get killed. First blood for MBR as they kill the support.
There we go. That's the window we're talking about. But while it is not the roams that we saw, it is basically the other way around. Alvis joining the fray with such a deep access through the dragon, using the lantern to skip every single ward, I believe, to propel themselves to under the tower.
Yeah, and that is huge for MBR. And we keep on talking about the roaming potential coming in from them and how Flash Wolves is hugely dependent on the late game, and it's now coming into fruition. MBR getting the first blood leads them to a good start in this matchup, and now Bruce needs to pivot himself into other lanes to get that trade. And now Bruce goes in, charms down onto Onion King, and gets to kill Flash Wolves, make it even for the kills.
The trust within Flash Wolves here is Sarah forcing himself to be incredibly low, setting the bait for Onion King rather, to get in the fight. But Bruce is right there, lying and waiting, and is able to get that early kill. Everything so far has been steady. MBR making moves around bottom lane. Flash Wolves responds towards the top side.
Yeah, and it is needed for Flash Wolves to do so. Because I think Flash Wolves, especially Bruce, is the playmaker, and it's showing their aggression in this game. And even then, if they're depending on that late game, they need to sustain themselves in the early mid to get to that point, because if they don't, it's pretty much MBR Esports dominating the early, dominating mid phase. So I think Flash Wolves doing that type of playstyle, doing that type of counterintuitive counter-attack rather onto MBR Esports is a requirement for them to get that late game.
Yeah, MBR has decent scaling as well. You've got Onion King and as well as Radiance here on the Ziggs. So there is someone that is able to catch that early game that Aelure is going to provide for MBR. I mean, he already pretty much is involved in that one kill over the bottom portion of the map. And as well as for Flash Wolves, of course, this is a very strong 5v5 composition as well, as Sarah going to be setting up with the flanks. Lockin and Eason, their job is to make sure that Cookie doesn't die, providing thick shields for Flash Wolves. And Bruce being that finisher or being that initiator once it comes to the picks.
Yeah, and I think this is the other variant of the unkillable composition that Flash Wolves is doing. Not in a sense of that healing potential, maybe from Locking, just a tad bit, but more so on giving those shields, being that sustainable. And I think this is sort of the indirect counter onto how Radiance could play this out, how Aelure can play this out, because both these champions are burst champions. So that shield is going to be so much when it comes to value for Flash Wolves, if they can utilize it very well in that mid-game, late-game fights, especially right now. We're in 5 minutes and 30 seconds of the game, very quiet, and Tobu roams top.
This is it, as expected when a Thresh is locked in. You'd expect him in multiple parts of the map, but we talked about having to leave your AD carry. So it looks like the rotation coming from Locking and Eason mitigated that threat, I suppose, in the 1v2 matchup. So far, though, you get to see Rift Herald already pretty much secured by Cookie. First Blood Tower is still not up for grabs, but because of the 2v1 matchup in the mid lane, they don't have priority. This could be a die.
Light Binding huge with a final
Easy.
spark to secure it. With a Ragnarok from Cookie to also just jump in onto the turret, and this might be the tap for its blood that Flash Wolves is looking for.
And this has been happening as the Rift Herald again being kept a little bit. You'll be able to open up mid lane, which is very important.
Now look at the 1v1, Alvis and Sarah, but Alvis still takes it for the blue buff. But now, it's Eason coming into the fray top lane. 2v2, Alvis jumps back. They will not fight, and Esser is left alone top lane.
And they're going to back away for now. And possibly Cookie's going to unleash the Rift Herald in the mid lane. Because again, especially when you're up against a Ziggs lane, you want to get ahead when it comes to map control and tower takes. And this means Radiance is going to try even harder to try and catch up. Especially as a Ziggs that can take towers down very, very fast. Look at this roaming death squad, though.
Yeah, it's a
Do
four-man
they
roam.
see
That
Elvis?
goes.
What?
They don't.
Huh?
Elvis just jumps in, and now he gets killed. He gets surprised with a four-man from Flash Wolves. That's a kill to the jungler. And now Tobu trying to run away, but the charm connects. Almost gets it, but Arlier is there to save the day. And Tobu lives, but Flash Wolves takes their second turret in this game.
I love the baits in response to baits, because MBR was ready to collapse. Alvis kind of pretended that he didn't see anything, that Flash Wolves basically compressed into one single brush. And it's just one of those things where who will be able to pull the trigger immediately? And it was Flash Wolves that was able to land the charm, disabling Alvis basically, and MBR's collapse wasn't enough.
And I think they need to be wary of those, because Flash Wolves is going for these type of strategies wherein MBR Esports cannot handle this surprise attack, especially when you're considering you have Alves. Sure, I think he's the only one that can try to frontline stun the enemy team when Tobu's not around, which I presume would be that mid lane focus for Tobu to try and pivot himself onto the mid laner and all your
What the?
But look at the root! It's locked! It's Eason taking it down to lead it to a kill once again for Flash Wolves. And now MBR Esports going for mid lane once again, connects it for the charm, and also the light binding, as now Allier is very low. It's Isra getting the kill. 3 kills for Flash Wolves.
Crazy binding. Eason was so confident with that too, with the flash into the binding. Perfect timing as well with the Mountain Drake now spawned. MBR is not able to contest this one. They have to be careful. The fact that Radiance also had the flash, meaning he did not see that engage from Eason coming.
And Flash Wolves, they were steadying the early game, and now they're putting this hyper aggression up against MBR. And this is a problem when you have like low mobile champions, specifically on the Radiance. The only way that you can do it is the satchel charge, but you can't because of the charm and also the light binding from Eason and Bruce that synchronizes very well.
Yeah, satchel versus the way light binding and the charm, the way they travel is so much faster, for sure in most of the situations. So it's very difficult to try and react with an immediate satchel. It's not like an immediate arcane shift like an Ezreal. Doesn't work that way. And now MBR suffering the 6k gold deficit. Now Flash Wolves has been taking everything away so far in the map, as well as taking down towers. We'll see how they can pick up from this, because the way I see it, Tobu is still going to be a very huge part in this point of the game where they can get picks here and there. You follow it up with Aelure on the solution. But at the same time, already 10 minutes into the game, it's very, very difficult.
And now, MBR going for the 1v1.
Look at the
Sword
damage.
gets the stun onto Alves, uses up the flash to go back away.
Bye,
Final
Clark.
Spark zones him away, and that will be the smite to slow him
Bruce,
down. And Sarah
he's gonna
cannot
dive in.
catch up. But Bruce, here into the backside, goes for the flag, gets a kill onto Alves with the Spirit Rush, and the Charm will also follow up. An extra kill for Flash Wolf.
Very effortless. The way that Sarah just bursted down Alvis. Look at the two-man crescendo.
Ooh, Locking is doing miracle plays here, but MBR Esports will be able to go back away. No follow-up from Flash Wolves.
It's so scary looking at the items right now coming from FW. Staff of Flowing Water. Getting the ability haste down for more spammability of your abilities, basically on the side of Flash Wolves. This just works so well with Eason and the rest of the squad, well, especially Eason. And now Rabadon's gonna be the next item coming from the Lux. So, I mean, Eason has been hurting already. He's able to get all of these engages, and I really like the contrast, I suppose. We saw Eason being a phenomenal Gragas player, being that big, tanky engage for the team. And now he's still on engage duty, but on this mage, which is a very, very interesting light to see for sure, especially Flash Wolves.
Yeah, and I think they just need to capitalize on this early advantage that they have to fight up against MBR. You stated onto the Rabadon Set Cup and Luden's Echo. That's two. Bruce and Eason has built it, and I think this is the popularized items for those mages, for those AP champions because of the recent buff up onto Luden's Echo, and I think they're utilizing it very well. I think the damage is absolutely insane. And now they're starting onto the Baron Nashor. They know they're confident on their lead up against MBR.
They see this coming though because of the Lantern. Half HP already to the Baron.
Yeah, all this is on the sidelines as well, ready to go in. If they could do it, but Bruce into the flank,
They turn
arms
around.
up, final spark to follow up. Tobu very low, but he will go away. And now Alvis, half HP as well. Honeyfruit goes back for a little bit more HP, and Flash Wolves disengages the Baron.
Yeah, they just wanted to use it as bait. Take note, Onion King has been split pushing. Look at the damage on the tower. Flash Wolves cannot afford to take their time on that Baron. Because of that Baron resetted, they can't turn around again. They have to reset the waves in time for the next dragon to spawn, which is the Air Drake, which is absolutely important for MBR Esports to deny away from Flash Wolves. They're already a pretty mobile team. They've got Cookie here, Righteous Glory. They've got the movement speed coming from locking. They want to deny that for sure. And as well as to enable Tobu as well to find picks around the map.
Look at Alvis initiating the 5 stuns up onto Cookie, but Cookie uses up the Ragnarok to disengage onto the CC for MBR.
Ult now burned.
Oh, Charm, massive, coming from Bruce. Tuba, very
Crescendo.
low. And now Crescendo connects to follow up. And now MBR Esports places their support at a very low HP. This is going to be difficult as Flash Rule starts up the Cloud Dragon. Onion King on the sidelines gets them for information.
They have a lot of sustain. They have a lot of shields to work with to win the poke war here.
Now Bruce
Onion
jumps
King
in
coming
with
from
a
behind.
run. Yeah, and Onion King into the sidelines, but actually gets rooted down by the light binding. Now Bruce uses up the flash, saves up with 1 HP.
Eason!
And MBR Esports will not get the kill, and that will be Flash Wolves taking 3 away from MBR.
Sarah's still not over. He's still cleaning up the map. Going around. But it still doesn't matter because Flash Wolves now has so much space to work with the Baron. Only Alvis and Air Lure left in the game for now. It's going to be very hard. This is... yeah, Alvis will not make it at all.
Yeah.
Look at him. Just throwing the gauntlet, and I'm just going to farm my Raptors.
Yeah, because here's the thing.
My wolves, rather.
I think MBR Esports is thinking, you know what? We only have Alvis left. We only have Alyer left. If Alvis comes through into the Baron to attempt to get the steal and get the kill onto the Baron, they only have 2 Baron buff. In trade, if Alvis dies, it's Flash Wolves being able to capitalize onto the Baron Dasher to push on turrets because there is only 1 member left for MBR to even defend. So I think that is MBR tuning down on the risk here for this game 1.
Yeah, it's just a very solid performance so far from Flash Wolves. I gotta praise Eason's bindings though. It's just always very on point. Being able to play around the riposte timings as well coming from Onion King, and therefore being able to land that and punish the flank that the Fiora so desired to set up. Look at the 4-1 split push once more. Baron buff. I mean, this is the play that MBR can do at the moment. It's not like Onion King can stay in the base, wait for a fight. This is how you want to try and capitalize on this 4-1 split push, as we see Sarah already responding to that.
Yeah, because they have a huge goal deficit coming from MBR Esports, and they need to retrieve it back. They need to alleviate this disadvantage. So Flash Wolves just continuing to push down into the bot lane as well as taking the inhibitor turret. So Flash Wolves secures that. MBR Esports has to defend the mid next if they could, because Flash Wolves is looking up for this tier 3 turret into the mid lane, and MBR Esports starting this fight. The lockdown coming in from Tobu will get the slow onto Asura, but will not kill him. And now it's Onion King flashing away, going top lane, but inhibitor turret number 2 secured by Flash Wolves, and another kill for Bruce, going aggressive on Onion King.
Crazy collapse from Flash Wolves. Onion King wanted to try and set up a flank.
The charm massive and almost kills down Final Spark. Close there, but Isra just jumps into the flag, gets a kill. Alvis with 1 HP. The stun will save him, and that will be the 3rd inhibitor turret for Flash Wolves.
And now it's just the Nexus left standing. Flash Wolves are ready. What a binding.
Yeah, always connects onto 1 or
Teleport.
2. Flash Wolves. TP's now coming up. They want to finish this down. Bruce just jumping around. Spirit Rush to save himself. But there you go. You're just clearing out the way for Flash Wolves. They want to control the lanes. They want to control the minions away from MBR.
A little bit risky to stay around. Again, they have no AD carries, so it's really hard to just try and poke the Nexus down. And with that, MBR with the Ziggs is still able to survive another day, but how long would this last with such a huge gold lead already for Flash Wolves? And now they're looking into getting the Elder Drake. And with that said, it's just the early state of this game where they didn't manage to get Aerlure into that big lead as that Lucian to help transition Radiant into that late game.
Bruce into the flank, charms down Tobu, 1 HP, he still lives on 1 second, he pushes down, unlocking, he still lives,
He's alive.
he still lives, but Isra just finishes it down. You cannot outlive us, and we're gonna punish you with a kill. Support gone for MBR.
It means no engage on the death sentence available, and as well as Lantern delivery and Lantern saves. And look at this. Yeah, Alphys is lurking around.
Ooh, but Bruce probably going for the face check. MBR.
Oh, Ethan doesn't see.
They don't
Bruce
know.
will
They
though.
don't have enough information, but Flash Wolves very wary. Checks down. Alphys is now gonna get charmed. That follow-up from Cookie gets it down. Protobell. Oh, Flascone almost saves him, but final sparks to secure it. And now Flash Wolves can start the Infernal Dragon once again.
Yeah, no jungler, no problem. They're gonna secure this one. And MBR sadly has to fight an Elder Drake buffed Flash Wolves. They've already been having a hard time earlier on. This is such a humongous lead on the side of FW, and now it's just one of those things that how can we reset back to the drawing board for MBR here, as again they had the scaling, but before that even arrived, it was just too late.
Yeah, the Wolves are now howling in this series up against MBR. And look at that. Toba initiates the fight with a dead sentence. Actually gets a kill onto Lucking. This will be the 1-for-1. Jungler away. Support for Flash Wolves. But the Nexus base will be the target. And Flash Wolves gets the first game of the series.
And we get it.